While the rest of the internet was busy wondering how Revelations would take to download, we were busy finding out the secret to zombies. And spoiler alert, my theory now is that zombies is a simulation. Who the fuck said that? Who the fuck said that? Alright, it was me. So, this theory stems on the fact that we see multiple zombies paraphernalia in the multiplayer campaign. Not that there is a campaign for multiplayer anyway. Am I right, hater? Again, there's lots of Primus paraphernalia littered on the map Splash, on the map Touchdown, on Nuke, on Hanamura from Overwatch. There's a little golden Richtofen statue. Is suspicious about this piece of evidence is that we know once you download the backstories and have completed all the hero gear for each of the heroes in multiplayer, that they're actually existing in a simulation. We see this in one of the maps that has the Derisa logo on it. I think it's called Infection, with the sideways wall and world going crazy shit. That is a simulation of a glitch happening in the game. Now, this simulation was based off of the campaign. If you played single player, basically most of that, 99% of single player, takes place inside a computer program once you get the direct neural interface from the Coalescence Corporation. After your limbs get torn off! So in multiplayer, we know once we access the logs of all of the players that the Coalescence Corporation has a plant among them to document their progress as a simulants. We honestly all think that the simulation, the people who are aware of it at least, are Spectre and Firebreak. Again, Prophet seems to know this with his glitch ability, in which he says, we know Prophet uses his ability glitch, which actually says restoring simulation, when he time travels through time to go around the time. You know, his secondary ability, his specialist weapon, not his dick. Knowing that it's a simulation, it causes us to wonder, why are there so many zombies-related items inside the simulation maps? Now, this could be a mere coincidence that somehow, through the multiverse of zombies, as other YouTubers would like to believe, that these things are sort of bleeding over into a cybernetic world that exists within a computer. However, I think this is more indicative that zombies itself is a simulation running through a direct neural interface. Now, the second piece of evidence, I find this even largely alluding to the simulation possibility theory, is the fact when we look at who plays the Shadow Man in the Zombies campaign, the actor who portrays him is none other than Robert Picardo. I was going to show Robert De Niro, but I got it right. Why this is important is because when we look at the campaign itself, the director, the co-founder, the person who runs the Coalescence Corporation, which created the direct neural interface, which is like the Matrix, is like a little hole in the back of your head that you can plug a jack into. You can jack off into your head electricity and be inside the simulations that they create. Now, as I said earlier, 90% of campaign is a simulation. You go through this whole thing trying to find the Corvus virus, trying to find Taylor, trying to find Hendrix. And then the leader of the Coalescence Corporation is Dr. Kruger. He eventually gets caught by the Corvus virus, which is a glitch inside the system. The most important thing is here, what I'm saying is simulation, DNI, Kruger. Now, Dr. Kruger is the person who runs the whole thing. This is almost an allusion to Freddy Krueger if you're thinking Nightmare on Elm Street with the dreams. And again, the simulation is often referred to as a dream. Now, Dr. Kruger is curiously also played by Robert Picardo, the same man who plays the Shadow Man in Shadows of Evil and Revelations. He made the machine that allows people to go inside the simulation. He created the simulations themselves. Now, where Robert Picardo becomes an interesting sort of avenue to go down is Robert Picardo, as an actor, has been in all 3 of the Black Ops games. Yes, we know Black Ops 3 relates to Black Ops 1, and therein relates to Black Ops 2. But he was in also some of the Zombies maps for Black Ops 1. See, Robert Picardo played a random dude in Black Ops 2. He also, like, it's just a random technician that I think dies in the 2nd level. But in Black Ops 1, he plays Robert McNamara, like the Secretary of Defense for John F. Kennedy. Now, we know Robert McNamara was also featured on the map 5. I'm just drawing a little more allusions to Robert Picardo's sort of face being an important thing to think about. Now, aside from this allusion to zombies, we'll get back to that in a sec. Robert Picardo's claim to fame is that he was featured heavily. He was one of the main characters on Star Trek Voyager. He played a hologram doctor named the EMS Emergency Medical Hologram. A hologram who was a holographic doctor, a simulation of a person appearing on the ship. Now, a lot of his episodes, in fact, were featured on the holodeck of the ship, where in which he'd get into various adventures inside various simulations. All of his stories were mainly centered upon interactions with the crew, but he also had numerous stories where he was dealing with holodeck individuals and the simulations that contain them. So what I'm trying to say here is the casting of Robert Picardo isn't not intentional. You think Robert Picardo, you think the Doctor from Star Trek Voyager, who was a simulant in its own right as a hologram, but also all of his storylines mostly dealt with simulations on the ship. Now, when we bring this into the Black Ops Knowledge Compendium, he's also playing various characters in the Black Ops universe, from Robert McNamara, both in the campaign and zombies, to even the Shadow Man, both in campaign and zombies. And the Black Ops 3 campaign features, oddly enough, simulations created by Dr. Kruger, aka Robert Picardo's character. What I'm saying is all this links to Robert Picardo's casting, and maybe it's a little too coincidental that the actor best known for playing a simulation on TV is also playing 5 different characters across 3 different games. Now, the third and final piece, I guess, of evidence would be the forest. If you play a campaign, there is a character named Dr. Salim, and the Corvus virus sort of takes over his mannerisms in being a physical therapist. For the characters, and he always brings them back. He grounds them into this area where they can be calm after they die, or if they're in sort of distress within the simulation. It's called the forest, the frozen forest. And all it is a serene forest where they're surrounded by trees that go up into the skies almost infinitely, and no one else is really there. Now, this also leads to the selection screen when we're in the zombies menu, and is featured in the Revelations trailer, a forest of which our characters are in at night. So when we tie this all together, the fact that the forest appears in campaign and in the zombies menu select screen, the fact that there's multiple zombies items, Easter eggs found in multiplayer, which we know is a simulation, and the fact that the actor who plays the person who created the simulations in the campaign is the same actor playing the Shadow Man in Zombies. What I think is we find 3 compelling arguments that sort of tie in this possibility that Zombies could be a simulation in its storyline, at least through Black Ops 3. Anyway, I hope you found this enjoyable and informative. It's a pretty out there theory, but I think it holds a little bit of water, at least in terms of theories going. You have to know a lot of pop culture outside of Black Ops and actually know a few other things in addition to that to sort of tie this all together. But this is a theory I've been sort of working on for a while. It brewed in the back of my head. As soon as I saw Robert Picardo's face, I was like, that motherfucker, he's a simulation. We're all inside a simulation. Hurry on, me with a simulation! But when we get down to it, additionally, what I might even submit as the fourth point is when we look who's in charge of the campaign and who's in charge of the zombies storyline at the current point, one name sort of rises to the top, and that's Jason Blundell. Drop the mic. Drop the fucking mic, Hector.